You gotta live and learn. Isn't that true? We all pass judgment. Isn't that true? We all pass judgment. And 9 times out of 10, when you pass a judgment, it's a negative concept, correct? Well, I passed a judgment on a very lovely lady. I was invited to Washington, D.C. to perform at the Kennedy Center for some kind of award presentation. When I got there, the stage manager of the show asked me to go into the green room. He said, I need to be quiet in this room because the noise from this room can travel onto the stage. Now, I myself have never seen noise travel. They say this stuff happens, I go along with it. I go into the green room, and in the green room is a woman. She's in a wheelchair. She's a quadriplegic. My first judgment I passed upon was, my gosh, what kind of a life is this? She can't move, she can't walk, she can't talk. She had nothing to contribute to society. In 5 seconds or less, I had this woman pegged for death, me. But me being who I am, I went up to her and I said, hey, how are you? She started to open her eyes. At first, I was taken back. I was like, oh, good Lord, what did I start now? Hello, how are you? And her eyes started to open up really wide. When her eyes got really wide, her assistant came by. And she said, when she opens her eyes, it means yes. When she closes her eyes, it means no. I said, great, I spent my whole life learning how to read lips, now I got to go to school for some freaking eyelids over here. When I said that, the woman in the wheelchair started to laugh. It was a horrendous sound. It was this, But to me, it was the most beautiful sound I ever heard. I realized right then and there, I can communicate with her. Now, what better person to tell all your jokes to than somebody who cannot heckle you? So here you have Ruth and I in the middle of this green room, and all you can hear is this, I'm going, come on, Ruth, let's get some dancing shoes on. Let's get out of here. And she's, Stage manager screaming, get that deaf broad away from the quad. That night, Ruth received an award. She wrote 2 top-selling books with the blink of an eye. With today's technology, she too has a computer. It's called a word board. They hook it up to the chest, the wire goes to the eyelid, she sees the letters she wants, she blinks her eyes, and it goes to the computer. 2 top-selling books. I haven't even read a book then. I graduated from high school with a 1-point average. Nobody bothered to tell me we were collecting points. That night, Ruth received an award. She was amazing. She had a computer printout for me, and it said on it, thank you so much for making me laugh. But more than anything else, thank you for treating me as an equal to anyone else. Well, I took that piece of paper and I wrote on the back of it, and I handed it to her. I said, there, that's your bill for the entertainment. She's, Around the corner comes a gentleman in a wheelchair. He has cerebral palsy. He has no front teeth. Me being who I am, where the hell are your teeth? Man starts to laugh. It's her husband. She's married. I couldn't believe it. I looked her square in the eye and I said, you know what, Ruth? I came in here tonight and I thought to myself, my gosh, what kind of a life is this? Only because I didn't think I can live it if I was in your situation. Here you wrote 2 top-selling books. I don't like to read. You're married. I can't even get a date. I said, I hope you get pink eye. The moral of the story is, please, don't pass judgment upon anyone you wouldn't want passed upon yourselves, because believe me when I tell you, there's no limits as to what we can possibly do with our lives. How many would like to know the truth about Ruth? The absolute truth. Want to hear? Put it up. All right, here we go. I'm never going to forget that night as long as I live. I walked into the green room, and it was a black tie affair. Women were in beaded gowns. Men had tuxedos on, drinking champagne, having hors d'oeuvres. And Ruth was pushed up against the wall. She wasn't in a regular wheelchair. You see, Ruth's story is that she was born an able-bodied baby. But at 5 weeks old, she contacted a high fever, and because of that high fever, she ended up with cerebral palsy so severe, her body locked. What she was in it was what they call a reclining chair. And her little legs were like this. Her little arms were like this. It would lock. Her feet curled up the opposite way. She never wore a pair of shoes in her life. Her head was in a brace which you can only see one way. She had these big crooked teeth, and her front teeth were missing. And they had to shoot her up anywhere from 3 to 5 times a day with muscle relaxers just so she can breathe. So when I walked in there and Ruth was pushed up against the wall, I know what it's like to be rejected by society over something I have no control over. So it's always my nature to make somebody else more comfortable. So when I went up to her and I said, "Hey, how are you?" and she didn't answer me, I'm going to be honest with you, I panicked. I panicked. And I stepped away from her. And then I looked at the room and I thought to myself, do I have to be like everybody else and ignore her? So I went the second time, like, "Hey, how are you?" And when her assistant explained to me that when she opens her eyes, it means yes, and when she closes her eyes, it means no, I was okay with that. But something happened when she laughed. I no longer saw her body. I saw the spirit in the body. And I started messing with her. I'm like, "Come on, Ruth, let's go dancing, let's go." And she's, "Come on, Ruth, let's go rollerblading, let's go. Let's go skydiving. What the hell else could possibly happen to you?" Ruth. Story is that she was institutionalized for over 30 years of her life because some one person made a judgment. The judgment was that because her body was crippled, so was her mind. And because of that one person, everybody treated her as a 14-month-old infant for over 30-some years of her life. Can you imagine? I just want to tell you right now, when you pass a judgment on someone, it does not define them. It defines you. And if you feel the need to put limitations on another human being to gain significance within yourself, go look in the mirror and find out what's missing in your life. No one has the right to put limitations on another human being. I don't care who you are. So Ruth was institutionalized all these years. One day, they had the patients out in the hallway, and her nurse was training a new nurse, and she was explaining to her how to handle certain things. And she told a joke, and Ruth laughed. But they didn't know that was her laughter. They panicked. "Oh my God, she's having a hard time breathing. Let me go get her syringe. I'll be right back." The new nurse goes, "No, wait a minute." And she tells another joke. And Ruth laughed again. And that's when they realized there was more to Ruth than meet the eye. Ruth was almost 36 or 37 years old. Can you imagine being on this planet for all those years and nobody ever looked at you as a human being? When they found out there was a lawyer that used to come to the place, his name was Steve Kaplan, and what he did is he made this huge poster board. And on the poster board were all these words, names, locations, things she was familiar with. And he'd come 4 or 5 times a week for hours, and Ruth would stare at a word on the board. And his job was to find the word that she was staring at. And he would go, "Your mom?" She'll blink once for yes or twice for no. Took them 5 years to raise a book called I Raised My Eyes to Say Yes. Can you imagine? Talk about a friendship. Talk about perseverance. Talk about making a commitment to another human being. He found a way to get a voice out for her. See, Ruth had a dream. You wouldn't think somebody like that would have a dream. It wasn't pole dancing. That was my dream. I ended up being the pole. Ruth had a dream. You know what her dream was? Her dream was to change the outlook on how people evaluate people between mental disabilities and physical disabilities. She wanted to change laws. This is what she wanted to do. And she did. Ruth made a difference. Thank you. Ruth made a difference in the lives of thousands. She actually changed the law, and all she could do was blink her eyes. Now you tell me, what is it you can't do? I just want you to close your eyes for a couple of minutes here. I'm not going to get naked. No need to scare you at Caper 19. I just want you to imagine you living in a small room with no windows, but a small slit of a window and a door. In that room is a twin-size bed, a vinyl mattress, and you're laying on your back. You wake up that morning, you realize you cannot move a muscle in your body. You stare at the ceiling, you stare at the door. Every morning you wake up with the anxiety and anticipation of who's going to come in that door and win. Is it going to be somebody you like, somebody you don't like? Is it going to be somebody who's gentle with you, somebody who's rough with you? You never know, but every morning starts with the anxiety. They could be there in 5 minutes, 5 hours. Sometimes they just run in, feed you, and leave. But this day is a good day, because today, somebody came in the door. The first thing they do is they take the tubes out of your throat that you were using to breathe all night long. They give you a shot to start breathing on your own. They take your blanket off. They take your nightgown off. They go ahead and they give you a sponge bath right there on the mattress. They dry shampoo your hair, they wash your face, they brush your teeth, they change your catheter, maybe your diaper. You don't know. But it is a good day today. You know why? Because today they're putting you in street clothes. And you know what street clothes mean? Street clothes means you get to go in the wheelchair and you get to get out of the room today. They put your clothes on, they put a bib on you because you may be drooling, take you down to the cafeteria. You don't know who's going to feed you. Is it going to be somebody who feeds you too fast, too slow? Is the food going to be too hot, too cold? Is it going to be something you like, something you don't? Something you want more of, or whatever? But you have no say-so. You have no voice. They get to do whatever they want to you. They finish feeding you. They take off the old bib, put on a new one because you may be drooling. And they take you down this long hallway to the lounge, the one place you hate more than any place in the world. You know why? Because they set you in front of a TV. But if there's no caregiver or any doctors or nurses in that room with the other patients that are mentally challenged, they don't understand why you don't move. So they hit you, they bite you, they spill things on you. You've laid in that chair and in that bed for months on end with a broken leg and never was able to tell anybody, and nobody knew. Nobody comes to visit you, nobody comes to acknowledge you, nobody says, I love you. Is this the life you'd like to live? Is it? Then I ask everybody to open their eyes and stand up, please. I want you to take both your hands out in front of you and wiggle your fingers. But I want you to look at the palm of your hands. I want you to look at that. That right there is a miracle. Do you get that? Hands up above your head. Can you feel your belly button going, oh yeah? If you can, put your hands out to the side. I don't care who you knock over. If you can, lift one foot up and then the other foot. But I suggest you put the other foot down first. If you're comfortable with this, I'm asking you, from your heart, looking at the person next to you, give them a hug and just say, I love you. This is a gift. So please, treat this with the utmost respect. And know one thing for sure, that there is one crazy deaf broad out there that loves each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your time, and God bless you.